Good evening, everybody. Well, actually, I guess it would be good morning because this thing now drops at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you can still call it good evening.
Yeah, it's evening for us. Either way,
Exactly.
It's Monday, February 10th when we're recording this. We are 24 hours removed from the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, but that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Although, fly Eagles fly, go Eagles, screw you, Patrick Mahomes, you Kermit the Frog with a perm, moron, and party down broad.
Hope he cried himself to sleep last night.
But no, what we're here for is we are here to talk professional wrestling. It is in this very ring. I am the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I am the one they call Ritz. And joining me all day, every day, is the man they call Butters. Can't say each and every Friday night because we're not on Friday nights anymore. I got to rework the whole spiel. Yeah, anyway, we are just about, I guess at this point, Raw's been off the air for about 15, 20 minutes or so.
About 15-ish minutes, yeah.
Not really anything. It was a good Raw. And I was very surprised with what happened to kick the show off. But before we get to that, I want to talk about how the show ended. We'll talk about Logan Paul. He did. Punched his ticket to the Elimination Chamber 2 weeks away. He will join CM Punk, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, beat Rey Mysterio. We heard there was a triple threat. I believe it's on Friday. Damian Priest, Jacob Fatu, and Braun Strowman. That's gonna be a slobber knocker if I've ever heard one. But
Man.
How do you feel with Logan joining this roster of people?
He's talented. It'll make the chamber interesting, but I still hate the little fucker.
Let me ask a better question. How do we feel with Logan Paul kind of being in this high mid-card, low main event tier kind of superstar? How much of that has to do with who he is outside of WWE and like his popularity coming into it? And how much of it is he can actually wrestle? That finisher,
60-40.
that pulverizer that I think it's what it's called.
You mean the pulverizer now?
Yeah, whatever. That's for somebody who has not been wrestling that long, that's an impressive move to hit.
Like I said, 60-40.
You're so salty. It's astonishing. You hate him that much?
Him whatsoever.
Don't get me wrong. I don't
wrestle. He can go at it. I do not like the person.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like the guy either, but good Lord. I don't know if I'm going to shake my head when I say that he has an impressive moveset.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. I mean,
and he's not, and he's got the gift of gab. This is what's so infuriating. I feel like that if he would have, instead of becoming this social media darling or whatever they want to call him, if he would have just put all of that into professional wrestling, imagine what kind of talent we would have on our hands for a moment. It's borderline scary to think that he had all of this just kind of chilling. And now he's been wrestling for 2 years now?
Off
and on for 2, maybe 3 years tops. And he's already been United States champion. He's wrestled for the world title. He's had impressive showings at the Royal Rumble. Every match that he's put on has been really good. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You put him in the upper echelon of celebrity talent, right? Because he actually signed a contract. He's not celebrity talent anymore. He's talent.
Yep.
You know, which is crazy to think about. How I don't know. It's bewildering to me, and I get it. You don't like the guy, but you have to respect the fact that here's somebody who made a living as a content creator and doing dumb shit all over the country, all over the world. Very controversial. And probably one of the most punchable faces in social media some days.
Mm-hmm.
But in a very short time, really took to this like a fish to water.
Yep. I mean, I will get, like I said, I'll give him props. I really do. I cannot stand the guy personally.
So we're going to bring in the OGP of A2D, who has just joined us. But I got to say, I love his name that he has for tonight.
Oh, baby.
I'm going to let him have it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pete Evans.
What up, party people? Oh, man. Last 24 hours have been a blast. As you can see, I'll change it. I'm in the midst of changing it right now.
One more.
It was win one more, and we won one more. And yeah, man, it's a great time to be in the area. It's electric. People all over the place. If people don't know, when the show comes out, we are outside of Philadelphia.
Well, you are
Midnight Green, and yeah, man, it was what a time to be alive right now.
So I almost wanted to do this as like a recap show of the Super Bowl, something we've never done before.
Okay.
I almost wanted to do that earlier today, but I would be remiss because I know I was actually watching Eagles talk before we started recording this, and then I know you guys are recording your stuff tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to take away from that by no stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But I've got to ask, it's the Super Bowl, and yeah, we're pivoting a little bit. We're talking about Logan Paul. We are going to pivot to this for just a minute. It's Super Bowl Sunday. You're watching the game yesterday, and it's 7-0, 14-0, and that score keeps climbing to where it was like what, 21-0 at the half.
No, it's 24-0 at the half. At one point, the highest it was actually 34-0.
Yeah, so you're watching this blowout, and I gotta ask, and Butters, I'll ask you the same question because I know what I was thinking. What's running through everybody's head other than, please don't screw this up?
I mean, so to get real X's and O's about it, right? If you were to give me a pie chart and you was like just three phases, I felt going into the game, my gut feeling was we can win comfortably, we could win close, we can lose close. I never felt like there's not a team in the league currently constructed like the Eagles to where I feel as if they can just come out and straight beat us without us beating ourselves and just impose their will. I would say 5% of me, when I said that win comfortably, I was telling people like, yeah, we can win comfortably or we can literally blow the doors off because they haven't seen a team like us all year. And so honestly, at that point, once it was 17-0 and it was a 3-score game, I knew the game was over. Like, so, yeah. And I knew the game was over. Once it got to 34-0, it was like, there's to get to that point where it's 34-0 and it becomes a 4 or 5 score game. At that point where the time was at left in that game, there is no way that they could mess this up.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, right? Like I was watching it. I watched it at home, and the score's just going up and up and up. And other than, by God, please don't screw this up, because I've been a Philly fan long enough. The other thing rolling through my head is, did we expose the Chiefs? I know that's been thrown around a lot lately, but you got to think about it. We got the Patrick Mahomes a lot, and we did the same thing back in 2017. We got to Brady a fair amount.
You got the Brady. You made Brady feel pressure.
Yeah, not the same, not to this level by no means, right? But we got to Mahomes. I think, what was the final tally? 7 times.
So 6 sacks. He had 15 pressures. He was pressured 42% of the time. This is what.
I mean, my God. They kept them out of Eagle territory
until
75% of the game.
They didn't cross midfield until 34 seconds left in the third quarter. This is what could have happened 2 years ago if the field was okay. So it goes to show that, yes, they have a very great player in Patrick Mahomes. They were in ideal situations that suited them, and they were able to capitalize. But if a team who was already physically better than them, did not give that to them, and they did not have that, then they didn't have a chance. I would equate this to bring it in, to put it in wrestling terms. This was Brock Cena from SummerSlam when he he gave him 40. Like, you knew after the 10th German, like, this match was pretty much over. At this point, it was just for his own entertainment and our entertainment. The funniest feeling about this is, because I wasn't around when the Broad Street Bullies in hockey won back-to-back Stanley Cups, but when they were the most feared team in the league, like that's the Eagles now. And out of all the Philly franchises, this feels weird because now you feel like this, where you can't say you're the underdogs now.
We're at the mountaintop, and we've been at the mountaintop for the last couple years. And I remember you growing up, you were almost like we were like one step removed from the Lions for a while there.
And if you think about it, if you go back to the 80s and the 90s, and I've heard Chris Sims say this, son of Phil Sims, Giants great. Like, if you go back and look at those 80s and 90s and who won those Super Bowls, it was generally an NFC East team. Mm-hmm. And it was the NFC East team beating up on the AFC team. And the AFC teams had the quarterbacks, they had the glitz and the gamers, but the NFC just had better overall teams, so the quarterbacks couldn't beat the teams. I think you're in a point to where you may start to get back to that, and it's just a physical brand of football, and we just smacked them in the mouth. And they did, like, you could tell they kind of felt as if they almost felt like, all right, so another SummerSlam, another involving Brock. We talk about SummerSlam 2003, 2002.
Okay.
Brock after Rock got the undisputed title back.
Yeah.
The couple pay-per-views before, and then everybody kind of knew he was on his way out. Like, that was the kind of the undeniable. Like, you just thought you were going to show up and just win and take the field of play, and it was just going to magically happen. And then no, it just does not. So, but
it was definitely a fun watch. And my last question, and we're gonna go back to wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Philly. I mean, I'm in Houston,
mm-hmm.
right?
Where Jalen Hurts is from.
The thought of driving up there for the parade on Friday has been very high on my radar for about the last 4 or 5 days. But I have to know, like, I've seen pictures, I've seen video, because I'm part of a lot of groups up there. But walking around, because you're not downtown, right? You're in Jersey, right?
I'm in Jersey, but I went to the first parade. To anyone,
no. Right now, today.
Oh, is it still like that? Oh, yeah.
What is the feeling like walking around the city today?
It's
like, because I heard parties went on to like 6 a.m.
Yeah, man. This is different from the standpoint, like, this is your second one, and this is where you pretty much everybody, the whole talk going into it was the three-peat, was the dynasty, and it's almost like my wife, she got tired of me, right? Because I would be out, and in this whole run, you would see somebody that has some Eagle stuff on, just a complete stranger, and you're just like, go Birds, and they say go Birds back. And this was even before last night. So now it's like a sense of pride. It's a sense of camaraderie. I mean, all the local stores, they opened up right after the game, and were open till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning selling merch. People were already outside. People finished the game from the parking lot watching on their phone because of how handily the score was. So there was no suspense there. I mean, even when I got done work today, and I went to a local Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'll show you on camera. So this is because I already ordered stuff that I have already on the way. So this is Super Bowl champions.
I like that
already with the Eagles logo. Then it also has the Super Bowl logo on it. Go this way. This way. Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. We sent we actually sent a salesperson to the game yesterday. And
I mean, and it was pretty much 65-35 from what I've heard.
Well, he gets back today,
and
I asked him. I was like, "Hey, man, if you find merch, give me the merch."
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. If not, I'm gonna. I didn't order anything last Super Bowl. I'm gonna order something this Super Bowl because.
And then
Same.
If you, whatever you think the parade is, and I know they've shown the pictures down Broad, and if you look at the aerial pictures, you can't see pavement at all. The parade is all those same amount of people, if not more, all spread to the sidewalk. When I tell you, it's not for the faint of heart, dude. It's not.
Well, and that's what I've heard, right?
You
talk about walking around the city and saying you've seen somebody, a complete stranger in Eagles gear, saying "Go Birds." I relate it to two things. One is the easy one. You guys make fun of us all the time, and Chucks and Chrome know exactly what I'm talking about. You go down to Disney, and you're walking around, and you see somebody in Eagles gear. You hit them with a "Go Birds," and they hit you back with a "Go Birds" too.
Yeah.
You've never done a WrestleMania outside of Pennsylvania, right?
Pennsylvania, New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah. So I did New Orleans for 35. And if you had any kind of wrestling gear on, the thing to do is to walk around and go, "Happy Rusev Day."
Okay.
Right? So that, like, you say that, and that's immediately what I go back to, and then we'll take it back to wrestling.
So right? it's an acknowledgement. You feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah, like
the difference is no one is getting drunk out of their mind, eating horse shit, or tipping over a porta potty. Why? And they know it could be. They don't know who's in it. It literally could be a kid. It does not matter. It's literally. It's Mardi Gras, and it gives people a reason. And here's the thing: you got like young guys at work today that were, when they first won, were underage. Now that they can drink, it's game over. Like,
yeah,
it's going to be the coldest day. They're starting at 11 a.m. It's just they're cultivating an environment for stuff to happen.
Valentine's Day, but I'm glad they picked a Friday at least.
Right? Yeah, you're talking 12 to 15 people deep on the sidewalk, shoulder to shoulder.
I would be so remiss if we did this show tonight and we didn't talk about it. And I know you may not be on for the whole show, so I didn't want to wait till the end. I planned on kicking it off, but you weren't on, and you're the expert when it comes to football. You're the expert here, right? So definitely wanted to bring it up. But let's get back into it. I was asking Butters his thoughts on Logan Paul, because we saw Logan Paul won his Elimination Chamber qualifier match tonight, right? And I was putting Paul over, right? Butters won't give him the respect. I don't like the guy either, but my God,
he's
I said he can wrestle. I give him props.
He's exciting to watch. He's all right. This is gonna sound crazy. Well, not sound crazy, but this is pretty much his spot. Wouldn't have been as big if they would have turned Ricochet heel and he was actually a draw, not just doing flips.
Yeah.
He's what a heel Ricochet could have been, because
should have been
exactly what he should have been, because of the fact of he has a move set, he can do spots, he can work small, and he can talk, and he's a hate to face. And you need somebody like that in the Elimination Chamber. There's going to be probably a couple dedicated spots to getting him out or getting him over. And that move tonight, that finisher was crazy.
I loved it. I was sitting here. I had Eagles Talk on. I had Raw on. I had Raw muted because they were actually on. If you haven't listened to probably the last 15, 20 minutes of it, it's actually a good listen. I gotta remind myself to message Chucks. It was. They had me locked in.
Okay.
In fact, when you talk to him tomorrow, if he hasn't heard from me, make sure you tell him that.
Okay.
But I was sitting there watching it, and I went, "Damn!" As soon as he
Yeah.
hit that. Like I was very impressed with what I saw, and knowing that Friday night we've got Damian Priest versus Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman
Strowman.
and I believe that's a spot in the chamber.
You know who's taking the pin in that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But when you throw one of those into the mix, right? Because all right, 2 of the 3 are interchangeable. And then you look at what you already got in John Cena, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. Logan Paul kind of feels like this odd man out. But then when you watch, he's going to be the high-flying luchador of that match.
Right. You need a spot guy.
Yeah.
And he is
Jacob Fatu in that damn thing.
No, that's not happening.
No.
Why
I mean,
not?
we can give it away. Every Butters, you should know. It's clear as day who's taking the pin and who's going into the chamber, who's winning that match.
I know.
So,
but I we now know that match is for Cody's undisputed WWE title, because after an explosive opening segment,
which I missed, did he just come out to his music?
Yeah, he came out to his music. I think he might have started. I missed it as well, so I'm trying to put the pieces together on Twitter. And it looked like he started talking, and then Gunther came down and immediately started wailing on him.
So I saw him come out. I didn't see the opening. I saw him come out. He's trying to talk, and the crowd just doesn't stop. So then I don't know if he even got any words out until after he took 2 power bombs.
Yeah,
I saw that part.
Yeah, and he told Gunther that it's going to be him and Gunther at WrestleMania.
Right.
And it was short, sweet, to the point. I do think he's gonna. This is the downside for Jay.
Right.
Every city's gonna want to party and celebrate with him. Right, better than the last one, and so he's not gonna say a lot between now and WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did say from the way he said it, he was
Jay
like,
didn't even get a chance to do anything.
Right. It's like he said, like, I should say this or I shouldn't say this, but me and you at wrestling, like, it's me and you. And then you can kind of, honestly, they're building Jay up kind of how they've been building. This is the closest thing that, like, I can say to Daniel Bryan I've seen, because they make a point to say, hey, this is one of the biggest upset wins in the Royal Rumble. Biggest, like, an underdog for, like, and I'm like, okay, I get it.
Mysterio?
Yeah, like you've heard that, and like they went out of the way on Friday to say it, and now since he's picked Gunther, you're going to see it on Monday night and they're kind of selling it there.
But I like that because, one, we love underdogs in this city and on this channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 2, when you think about it, he's never beaten Gunther.
No.
Nope.
Right? So Gunther is going to feel really confident going into WrestleMania. He's beaten Jay every time they've gone up against each other until Jay beats him and becomes the World Heavyweight Champion.
Sucks
right?
for Gunther.
It does. It does, but it doesn't at the same time, because I said this, I think, last week. Gunther chasing the title was more impressive than Gunther holding the title.
Yes.
Agreed.
Right. I think he's the right villain to chase a heel. You know what I mean? But he's also not even a villain. He's just, I want to wrestle. I'm going to fight you.
He's just like, I'm better. And like, it's weird because it was different when he held the NXT UK title, because he had Imperium around him. Like, he almost felt like he was untouchable. Right. He felt like he was untouchable. Like he was unattainable. You didn't have access to him. To where now, like, he did what he did tonight for the fact, like I told you, don't choose me because I'm gonna beat you so bad. You know what I mean? And then Jay's just the hard-headed fate, like the hard-headed good guys. Is, hey, I know it's danger over there. I can see it's fire. I'm still gonna run into the fire. I'm gonna run into that building. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, yeah, exactly.
But no, I liked it. I liked the pick because, we talked when we were putting the show. I say putting the show together. This is very freeform now. We were kind of talking about like what even happened this week in wrestling to just kind of pull from. The big thing that the three of us all said was nobody made their pick yet.
Yeah.
Right? We're 8 days removed, 9 days removed, whatever it is from the Royal Rumble, and we have no idea who's facing who.
Yeah, I mean, we even had Charlotte show up on NXT. So
yeah, Charlotte's still on this. I don't think they decide Charlotte's for a while.
I really feel like, and this is cliche, this is me, and I don't know if it may catch steam after here, but I really feel like we need to treat this Charlotte like we used to treat Matt Hardy. Like when Matt Hardy used to have like version 1, version 2. I don't know what version of Charlotte this is.
Divorce 1, divorce 3.
I would like, and this is what sucks. I'm a little upset that Jay picked Gunther because I don't see both Royal Rumble winners picking somebody from Raw. Because I really wanted Charlotte Rhea 3. And I think I said it last week. And it hasn't been mentioned yet that I've heard. You had when Charlotte won the first time, she fought Rhea for the NXT title at WrestleMania. The next time those two would fight, Rhea would beat her for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania
with the Avalanche Riptide.
And then now Charlotte's won the Royal Rumble again. Rhea is champion again, but this time for Raw. It would be, as far as I can tell, the first time
that they had 3 different titles.
2 women have wrestled at WrestleMania for 3 different titles. Bayley and Sasha didn't do it.
Yeah.
Charlotte and Becky haven't done it.
Yeah, I can see that eventually at some point. I still think you can get there. It's just if we all watched Friday and how she talked down to Tiff.
I really want Tiff to whoop her ass.
And that's where it's kind of like.
So I have what I would like from a history perspective, right? And just like being able to pick up on that and that self-gratification for myself.
Right.
But then I watched her interaction with Tiffany Stratton, and I went, whoop the bitch's ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what she say? When I was talking to Rhea, I saw a child, but now I'm talking to you, I see a kid.
Yeah,
and you should, because she's significantly younger than you, more natural than you. She still has what God originally gave her. So she has that going for her. And I mean, and
she looks the same with or without makeup.
Yes. And needless to say,
she's still got a man.
And she can keep him in. The same man.
Well, like father, like daughter.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'll
divorces to catch up on.
But I don't know. Like, I feel. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, outside of, do you think Charlotte would still be Charlotte if Trips was in control the whole time? Because we know how Vince sees things, and he has his top people, and he relies on them. Because remember, a lot of her title reigns, her and Sasha was swapping it back and forth.
Oh, like weekly.
Yeah, so that got the number up. But when you think of Charlotte, and I don't know, like moveset, the visual for me just isn't there, dude. Like when you look the same from the side as you do from the front, I can't, like, it just doesn't, I don't get it. Like I don't, her moveset.
I think Charlotte would still be Charlotte if Hunter was involved from the get-go. One, because of Rick. 2, because Trips was kind of high on her in NXT at the time. Right? So if he would have been overseeing both, I do. Now, do I think she would have had as many title reigns? Absolutely not. Because I think the biggest problem back then with the Sasha Charlotte feud, hot potatoing the title the way they did, was one, you had to, it forced them to get really creative with the matches, and some of those matches just didn't hit.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody remembers Sasha making Charlotte tap out to the bank statement between the railings and the steps in the arena.
That was a Raw, by the way.
Yeah, that was a Raw. But nobody remembers Charlotte winning those titles.
Yeah,
At least I don't. I don't remember any of her title wins.
Yep.
So
and they weren't. Then that's kind of my point. There's like it's the consistency. I get it, but the memories. Like she gives you a solid performance in the ring every time. Cool. Like I remember go back to 30. Was it 30? It wasn't 37. Was it 30? No, 36. When she did take it off of Rhea in 2020. Remember, she lost it in a triple threat match. That's when Io won it. Correct. And I think it was Charlotte, Rhea, and Io, where even now, like Io is somebody that you could put in that mix as well. It won't happen, but I already know we're 68 days away because Cole said it. We're 68 nights away from Jay and Gunther, so 68 nights away from WrestleMania. I would love to see Tiff go over. I think it does more for her to go over, especially how she won the title. I think this is a very fringe territory of what can happen when we get WrestleMania 36 all over again, when it was Charlotte challenging Rhea. And then it took a while for Rhea to get back there.
I think this is validation for Tiffany.
Exactly.
And I think that if Charlotte's smart, you understand that you've come back into this business after being gone for 2 years. Not sure if you're ever going to be able to come back and wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And now it should be your time to give back to the wrestling industry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have a few things that you haven't done? Yes. But I think ultimately it's time to let someone else sit in the spotlight and you start helping that next generation of women elevate themselves to your level. Because say what you will about Charlotte,
right? She
has a level all her own.
Mm-hmm.
Because she is consistent in the ring. I love, like when we go to a live show,
mm-hmm.
I love hearing that Charlotte's on the card.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, I know it's going to be a good match because even if they're not the best in the ring, Charlotte has the ability to carry them and take them to the finish line with her.
Yes, but so you bring up a very good point. And a lot of things in the ring, but I can't tell you the most memorable Charlotte promo or that sticks out in my mind. I can tell you this is where if you want to take the 4 horsewomen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So proverbially speak, even I from an overall package, I probably put Becky over Charlotte.
I would too.
I would put Charlotte over Sasha.
But if the Survivor Series, if Nia doesn't break Becky's nose when she
never
does,
happens.
Becky never hits.
Nope, never happens. But number 1 overall to me is Bayley. Bayley single-handedly during the COVID era, like ding dong hello, like that.
Which is wild. Which is wild to think. Because Bayley was the last one called up.
Yep. And she's had the most changes and has stayed relevant the whole time.
And you almost felt like the deck was always stacked against Bayley.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of Bayley on the microphone when she's a heel. Right. Because there's sometimes where it comes off and it's like, no, you're trying too hard. Right. I think Sasha and Charlotte
are way better heel.
Way better heels. Becky and Bayley are the better faces. And now, because we've done the ding dong hello, we've done all of that, part of me is like, bring the hugger back. You're going to NXT. Just do it one time. Do it this Saturday at Vengeance Day. Have the wacky wavable inflatable arm flailing tube men pop up again, just for shits and giggles for nostalgia, right? Because realistically, I don't see her winning.
No, I mean, I'm not.
I think she's there to help push Roxanne, and we talked about this last week.
Right.
I like when they send main roster talent down to NXT instead of bringing NXT talent up to the main roster without knowing if they can stay on the same level as some of those top guys, right? Like you take up Bayley and you throw her back down in NXT, the place where not Charlotte, not Sasha, not Becky, that's where Bayley made herself. Was NXT.
We talk about that takeover 2014, her when she beat Sasha. That like I'm literally sitting here going through my Rolodex in my mind, like the memories that they have.
I one of my favorite things to watch, because I'll go back every so often and I'll watch random wrestling clips. One of my favorite modern era things to watch is the last probably like 5-6 minutes of that match. But then you immediately have to watch Bayley's return to Full Sail the following Tuesday. And just how explosive that crowd was.
Yep.
Right? Like, those moments got Bayley over. I think if you would have tried to make Bayley heel on NXT, it would have killed her momentum.
That, but then we talk about the feud. Finally, when we saw heel Sasha face Bayley, but then we finally got heel Bayley face Sasha, and they ended that at the Hell in a Cell match. Remember that?
Yeah. Yep.
That another one. So I'm once again not like Charlotte's so good. It's just nothing to me that you don't get credit for that to me because you don't stand out. Like you don't have moments. You know what I mean? Like there's not moments that I can sit here
and they're not singular moments, because I think of like when they were building the Becky Charlotte Ronda match, and it was Ronda that
came at the expense of Asuka, remember?
Yeah, which I was okay with it coming at the expense of Asuka. Long term, I was okay with that because they screwed the pooch with Asuka at 34 anyway.
Yes.
Right, and so,
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that, and now with Alexa being back, like their women's division is just, even at NXT, like if you go watch Zarya, her name was Delta in the Australia Indies, like the matches that she put on like, with dudes, and they haven't even touched the surface. It's almost like, you're here, you're great, you need to wait your turn. You see what I'm saying? And even with Alexa now, like I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Like
I think Alexa wins the Elimination Chamber. I truly think that if they would have known that Alexa was going to be ready by Saturday, because there's reports coming out that they didn't know till like Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
That Alexa was gonna be good to go. Like the deal signed.
So you get Alexa versus Rhea.
I think we would have gotten Alexa winning the Royal Rumble.
Okay. And then you think she would have chose Rhea? Do you think? Exactly. Like to me, it's almost like I don't know who you can make me believe that can beat her.
The problem, it's not so much of who can beat her, right? Alexa, because she's back, and because nobody has seen her since before Bray, and the stuff with the Wyatt Six, and Alexa has that nuclear pop every time.
Yeah, but that's what that also makes me question: does she really need the title though?
No, and I don't think she does. But I also think that looking at the field, let me rephrase that. You can't have Alexa come back and the first two high-profile matches that she's in, the Royal Rumble and the Chamber, you have her lose.
That's
because then why do you deserve to be on the Mania card?
Yeah,
right.
But that's I was about to say. That's where they created those two mid-card titles. Like that's the other thing too. The beauty of this is, I mean, no disrespect to Ivy now. I get it, but not. Lyra is on a different level. Now, if you give me Lyra versus Io for the Intercontinental title, I can dig that.
I think Ivy is a good person for Lyra to fight because.
No, I'm talking about on a Mania level.
On a Mania level, so for that, it would really depend on how they set that up.
Okay.
And how little of a role Chad Gable plays to let her stand on her own. That's been the biggest problem. She was starting to she's kind of starting to break out of her shell when they were doing the whole thing with her and Maxine. And then when you align the Creed brothers with Chad,
right.
You instinctively brought her along because she was with them in NXT. I think that was a mistake. I think you should have had
they do
her
it too fast.
Yeah, because it was overnight, right? And then it was like a pointless turn on Maxine. We knew that she was going to eventually turn on Maxine because you have her aligned with the guy who hates Maxine and Otis and all those different, if they would have just let her play out, her and Maxine, of doing these spots and these matches, and because Maxine was getting better, you were seeing improvements there, you could sit there and say, wow, they could have been tag team champions at this point if they would have let that play out.
Right.
And now, all right, maybe they lost it at the Royal Rumble to Bianca and Jade, but Ivy's got her sights on the Intercontinental, and you have a way to build this. And Ivy's established herself as an independent talent, whereas now, I forgot the damn Creed brothers existed. Until 2 weeks ago.
That's a missed opportunity, man.
Well, you put them with Gable. You did the thing with American Alpha that was understood, that was necessary, okay. But now you have this thing where Gable's got a crusade. It's a crusade. It's the damn Spanish Inquisition against the luchadors. And the Creed brothers and Ivy are just we're going to go fail at winning the title so you can get rid of us too.
Right. And that, honestly, I think they could have worked if they would have did Julius and Gable as a tag team and had Brutus and Ivy just kind of chill. But Butters, what's your thoughts on the women's mid-card scene right now? Because with the women's roster being as loaded as it is, I think with the champions that you have for the mid-card titles, do you feel as if do they need to go against somebody all right, so what I'm thinking that we may get for Mania, and then I haven't seen this anywhere. I think we get Becky versus Chelsea, which I would love that because Chelsea can pull that off as she's entertaining with everything. The mannerisms that she would have with Becky.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just what the floor is all yours.
I would more so think, and this is just me, when it comes to Chelsea, I think we see Piper turning. You have Piper and Chelsea go at it for the U.S. title because, don't get me wrong, yes, they look buddy-buddy, but, I mean, Chelsea's also been using Piper more and more, to get behind her, so it's Piper can only take so much. Eventually, it's going to come down to Piper can only take so much. And you know what? Mania's on the horizon. You got a new fancy little belt that I want.
Yeah.
Why not?
So do you so you think Piper turns on her, but turns on her before? Because I don't think at this point they could do anything to turn Chelsea heel. I don't think there's
Chelsea's
a point.
Already healed.
But the crowd doesn't react to her that way.
And she really, other than how she has,
that's why you have Piper beat her down.
But
I think remember how? So before you go, Rich, I'm talking this is quasi similar to what Bliss and Nia had originally when they did the big payoff, and Nia when it was you had the cute girl bullying the not cute girl, the bigger girl, overweight girl, to where at that point, everybody can clearly see who was who. But in this situation, with the reactions that Chelsea gets from the crowd, I think you can have it in a way to where, yes, Piper's still going to lose her shit. She's still going to have enough. But is it to the point where everybody feels like in unison that Chelsea pushed her too far, or is this Piper just jealous? You see what I'm saying?
Well, and I think it's more like we're making the correlations to Nia and Alexa, and though Alexa did more cheap shots at Nia's like appearance,
right?
Whereas I haven't really heard that with Chelsea,
No,
right? And I think what it's going to boil down to is, and this will be genius. Chelsea needs help. She looks to Piper Niven for help. And Piper says, nah, I'm good.
Exactly.
And what you've done there is you've established Chelsea as the desperate baby face because the crowd's already reacting that way. And Piper as the villainous heel.
Like, how can you turn your back on your friend?
Yeah, the heartless heel, your friend who really made you relevant. Because no disrespect, Piper wasn't doing anything prior to this, and now you're going into a main event. I say main event, a title picture with somebody.
You're going into WrestleMania. I mean,
for that to happen, you would have to do that like
after Chamber.
No, at Chamber.
I mean, at Chamber, yeah, too.
Or at least, let me phrase that. Start planting the seeds at Chamber.
Right.
Right. And I just don't see them getting there to planting those seeds with that. If you're going to put Chelsea on the WrestleMania card, you have to have a plug and play character.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's why you created these titles too. These these titles should be. These titles should be on the card.
I mean, they are slowly pushing B-Fab.
Well, I like the pairing of B-Fab and Mia Yim. I
do too.
I like that. They kind of.
I think that'll be good for B-Fab.
Yes.
Yeah. Beechin can't get it done, but maybe B-Fab could.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm so pissed that Beechin is not champion.
I mean, not yet.
I mean, this is good. The stuff we're getting with Chelsea is good. Don't get me wrong. But when you think about the work, the grind, like everything that this woman has done, the dumb stuff that she's done, the island of irrelevance that she has sat on for a long time, I still think they kind of owed it to her a little bit.
And I do like the fact of if they do keep them as a tag team, you do need more, because eventually what we're going to do is we're going to have Liv and Raquel as your tag team champions. That's going to happen. I don't know if that happens before Mania.
That'll be Mania.
But you need somebody for them, because obviously it's not Lash and Takara.
You would have a triple threat or a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team titles. Lash Legend and Cora Jackson. Liv and Rhea. I mean, not Liv and Rhea. Liv and Raquel.
Who walks into that as champion?
I mean, I think it'll still be Bianca and Naomi.
I would love, and I don't think they pull this off. I don't think they pull the trigger on this. But I would love for them to drop the belts at Chamber.
To who?
To Liv and Raquel.
Okay.
Drop the belts at Chamber, because you have Jade come back and you start building either the one-on-one between Jade and Bianca or the triple threat between all three of them. Right? And then with the women's title, you have Lash Legend and what's the other chick's name?
Takara Jackson.
You have them win it at WrestleMania.
I can kind of see that.
Because let's be real. Legend and Jackson are future women's tag team champions. And it's about time somebody from NXT got their hands on those titles.
Speaking of that, their leader for Metaphor should be close to getting back.
No, it's Noam, isn't it?
Yeah. He should be close. He's been out for almost feels like close to a year now. It's like right after Mania.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
As far as your IC title match goes, that's where you put Becky at for Mania.
So you do. There's more story there with Lyra and Becky. They had the NXT Women's Championship history.
You roll that back, and you have them two go at it. I mean, Seth's on Raw. Why would you take Becky away from Raw? Keep them together for the baby's sake. But
keep them together for the family's sake.
Yeah, that too. We knew what he meant.
But you roll it back to those two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the history's there. The match would be. We all know the match would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just Lyra, Becky, Mania, IC title.
All right. So, question then, Butters.
Mm-hmm.
If not Becky, then who? For Lyra. If not, because so Pete doesn't know this story. We were in Houston the night that we found out it was going to be Lyra versus, who was it?
Dakota.
They both won their semifinals matches in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And Butters looked at Jax point blank and said, it's going to be Lyra. And he was the only man in the suite that said it was going to be Lyra. So, knowing that you're high on Lyra, if not Becky, then who?
Who do we got for Raw right now? Trying to remember all of them.
Pick a name.
Well, let's see. Those two are not to do. Let's see. Those three, nope.
You got Ivy, Maxine, Io, Dakota.
And you could do a triple threat with Io and Dakota and Lyra.
You just love seeing three at a time for some reason. I don't understand.
No, that's WWE style for belts half the time.
But it's also WWE style for WrestleMania too, right? We want to put as many people on the card,
right.
Get as many faces out there. And I think you've done a really good job kind of not saying that there's tension in Damage Control, but noting that there's that little bit of jealousy between the two of them when one succeeds and the other doesn't.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You saw it when Dakota was in the finals for the Intercontinental title.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw it, I also like that they kind of are calling back to Io versus Bayley.
Yep.
As well. So it's setting Bayley up to where if she does win the women's title from Rhea, there's your first battle. Right? Even though we've run it back, or hell, Bayley could win the NXT title and Io make that transition. There's so many different ways because Bayley's got a busy week ahead of her.
Yeah.
Right? There are so many different ways that you can take the WrestleMania card. And other than Jay Gunther,
you could definitely have Bayley go at it with Lyra.
Okay, pause. I would, as you talk about running it back and people who have had history with Lyra, at this point, what I see Vengeance Day right now this weekend, that triple threat match between Giulia, Bayley, and Roxanne, I view this as Roxanne's swan song. And I would love, Roxanne screams to me, Intercontinental Champion coming up right away.
Come up, take the title, go to Mania, and take on Bayley again?
No, have Lyra versus Roxanne.
Yeah, Lyra versus Roxanne at Mania for the title.
At Mania.
You can do that.
I wonder, and my eye, I'm going to be watching NXT tomorrow night. I say watching. I'm going to be tracking NXT tomorrow night. I would not be surprised if they turned Saturday into a fatal 4-way.
With who?
Cora.
Yeah.
Mm.
The way this is all playing out. But the way
she was on TNA too last Thursday.
The way this is all playing out and how Roxanne took that shot at Cora, and then Cora beat the brakes off of everybody.
Yeah.
I can see them adding Cora here. And dare I say, if they're gonna if they're gonna take it off Giulia and they're not gonna put it on Bayley, I can see them putting it on Cora, because then Cora goes to the other brand with the title.
And then as far as Charlotte goes.
Your favorite?
Oh no, it's most likely going to be Tiffy, and she's gonna get that 15. She's gonna pad those. Unfortunately, she's gonna pad those stats because it's sooner or later she's beating Daddy. She's getting 17.
Pause. That was a weird sentence.
That's what I meant.
Carry on.
Anyways, what irks me a little bit is how can you? She should have 16 by now. We all know this. They don't count the 2 NXT women's title runs. The issue I have with that is if the Rumble winner can choose the NXT Women's Champion, why doesn't that championship count as a world title?
That is not where I thought you were going with that soapbox. I am not. I got nothing for you because I am not prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes too much logical sense for your argument, and I don't have anything right now.
The only argument I could even remotely sort of kind of come up with, and it's almost borderline bullshit, is it's like
them not recognizing Ric Flair's?
No, well, one that, but two, it's also like soccer, right? Where you got where you can get regulated or promoted or whatever have you between the
relegated.
Two. Relegated. What'd I say?
Regulated.
Whatever. I'm tired.
We all are.
It's almost like that in a sense, right? So you're defending your position essentially, and because if Charlotte wins, she's gonna go down to NXT. But you don't want her there because she's annoying and she's a pain in the ass. So I don't know. It is bullshit. I don't disagree with you, but they were I won't say they're very clear. The title is World Championships.
I understand.
Or WWE Championships, whatever you want to call them, right?
But NXT is WWE, and they call it the NXT Women's World Title.
NXT, it's the NXT Women's Championship. That is it. Okay? It is not a WWE title.
Right.
So if we want to get real technical here, there's your answer. Bob's your uncle.
I get it. I really do, but it irks me that, she's got the 16, but they don't count the 2. Just like they did with Flair. He's got 20 something, but they won't count.
He's technically got 21.
Got 21. Legal drinking age.
4. And
they're only counting.
Which ones don't they count?
So I used to have believe it or not, I used to have a shirt when he retired. They had a shirt that had all his title runs on the back, and there were 4 that had asterisks next to them. And I want to say at least one, if not more. So one was an NWA title.
Was that the one in Puerto Rico?
Maybe. The other was a WCW title that he won. I think he was awarded the title.
Okay.
I do not remember the other ones on that list, but it was something like 21. It was a stat because I got this shirt right around the time I got his triple DVD retirement little set.
I still have that.
It's a great watch if you haven't seen it before. And so that's the only reason why I remember, because I was really big on Ric Flair's retirement and his legacy at that time. So I remember the stat. I still remember the specifics.
I think the one is definitely the one in, I don't know, I think it was to fuck is his name? His name is escaping me. Jesus, Peter. Carlito's father. That was the one in Puerto Rico. That was the one that is like, yo, like, if I win here, like, I'm not getting out of Puerto Rico alive. Like, he was like, yeah. I don't even think he went back for the belt. Like, it was just they did something else later. You know what I mean? I can't think. Carlos Colon.
Yeah, there you go.
Carlos Colon. Yeah, he dropped it to Carlos Colon, and that was definitely. See, that's where you almost wish you had like Hulk Hogan in a position like that, because Hogan would have been so selfish, he would have took his chances.
All right, so I got Flair's stuff up here. He's an 8-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay.
He is a 9-time NWA World Champion.
17.
He is a 2-time
WWE.
WWF World Heavyweight Champion.
Yep. It's 19.
NWA Missouri Heavyweight Champion once. And he was the NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion 3 times.
So the actual world reigns it's 19.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I know one of these is a WCW title. So let me see here.
What I'm saying is he's recognized as an 8-time NWA, 6-time WCW, and 2-time WWF.
So they're not.
I just read them off.
But it's not what he's saying, what they're counting versus what you said. So they're not counting 3 of his WCW reigns based off of that list.
Yeah.
Because you came up to what, 18? So, but is read your list again? It had 9 NWA,
8 NWA, 6 WCW, and 2 WWF.
So 16. So 17 is Cena to break the record.
Correct.
So, despite being listed as Flair's 6th reign on WWE.com, the match description says that it was Flair's 7th reign.
Okay. I mean, the man had a lot of titles, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so WWE does not recognize Ric Flair's 3rd reign. They consider it a continuation of his 2nd reign. And the 1st reign, they consider it a continuation of his 7th NWA reign.
Was that 3rd one? Was that the one where it got dropped to Bret Hart on a live?
No, that was WWE. No, this what he's talking about predates that, because they went from the small belt to the big belt. What you're talking about is when he dropped it. That was 92. That was shit. Let me see how good my memory is. So he won the Rumble in 92 to win it. He lost it to Savage at WrestleMania 8. Won it back. I want to say after SummerSlam. I want to say he won it back in late August, early September, and then he dropped it to Bret on a taping in October. And says Saskatchewan, Canada. Check me on that. See if I'm right.
All right, hold on. Let me get there. NWA. So Ric Flair, January 11, 1991.
Mm-hmm.
Ric Flair, it's his 1st reign of the NWA WCW title. The notes for this say, defeated Sting for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. WCW began recognizing Flair as WCW World Heavyweight Champion while still using the NWA Big Gold Belt. WWE recognizes this reign as an NWA World title reign for Flair's 16 World Championships and not a WCW one.
Okay.
So then he'd be stripped of the title. Okay. His 2nd reign happens at December 27th, 1993 at Starrcade.
He beat Vader.
The title is vacated on April 17th. A title match between Flair and Steamboat ended in a double pin, which resulted in the title being vacated. The vacancy was recognized by WCW, but is not recognized by WWE. So when Flair beat Steamboat on April 24th, just a few days later, right, 4 days later, for the vacant title, this aired on a tape delay on May 14th. During his reign on June 23rd, Flair unified the WCW International World Heavyweight Championship, which was represented by the big gold belt with this one. So that's
who did he beat? Did he beat Barry? He beat Barry Windham in that.
Don't know. This doesn't have who he beat. It's just
I know. I'm just the Rolodex in my mind. I can remember he made Windham tap out to the figure 4.
So that is what
you cannot forget, that blue ring with the yellow WCW big ass logo in the middle of it. It was not. not slightly. While you're doing that, have you heard the story? And Rick has said this himself of who would have had the most title reigns if they ever would have turned heel.
No,
I'll give it's somebody you've mentioned, and you probably would not, but it makes sense.
Who?
Steamboat.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He said he would have had more reigns than Rick, but he never wanted to turn heel. Many times that they tried to get him to turn heel, he never would do it. Never would do it. But it's almost like, even with Cena, like, to have 16 reigns, I don't know. Like, I almost feel like I wouldn't want that. Because that means if I won it 16 times, if I win it 17 times, bitch, that means I lost it that many times.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I like. Now, Rick was different. Rick kind of dominated. I mean, you think about 16 times over a period of 10 years, but we just came off of what we saw Roman do for 4 years. That was just one reign. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. But even for Cena, that's where shit, like, he was just Vince would just be Vincent, man. Like, Vince would just be like, don't get me wrong, I love Sheamus. There's no way Sheamus should have came in and won the title, the tables match back in whatever year it was to beat Cena. That just no. It was just it was just meaningless losses at times.
Yeah,
for
you
no
like the
reason.
ones against
The
Edge?
Edge loss. The Edge ones are cool because that was Edge. Like, you were trying to make another guy. You know what I mean? But in that time in frame,
there's a couple. I don't remember which ones, but there was a couple reigns. It's like it was me. It was just back and forth that whole summer.
My biggest thing is, like, I don't know. I don't want him. Like, I want Rick dead before he breaks that record. I know, like, John's like, I want to, win it so that when somebody beats my record, I can shake their hand. You act like they're gonna let Ric Flair come down and shake your hand at WrestleMania.
There's no. I don't know if he wins at Mania.
Let's assume, for argument's sake, because it's funnier this way. Let's assume that they have Cena win it at Mania. They're not gonna let Ric Flair's old ass take 2 days to walk down the ramp. It's gonna be a big ass.
No, they'll show the backstage interaction.
They'll do backstage, or they'll put him right at ringside.
They better. And don't.
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to win though, because it's going to be Cena Cody.
He might.
And you would like to tell. When's the last time they telegraphed a Cena win, and he actually won?
The only way I could see this going differently is him not winning at Mania. They're talking about at the end of the year putting in a PLE in Boston at the TD Garden, and they're going to call it Ruthless Aggression, and it's going to be a John Cena send-off party. There's two things. One, I could see him winning the belt there, which would be nice. But two, if they don't give this man, if they're going to do that and they don't give this man a Ric Flair style send off on air,
what they should do with that pay-per-view, he wins the belt, he lays it down, his boots in front of it, walks out.
Boots, you're so nice. You know, that motherfucker wears sneakers.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean.
He ain't taking the sneakers off.
Huh?
No, he
ain't taking the sneakers off.
You put it all, the sneakers, the hat, the headband, the shirt, something.
The wristbands I can see, but all that. But the craziest thing is, I think you kind of lose the luster. Now I would say you lose it. Depends on it, like, because he's been saying, I haven't won a match in this many days.
Yeah.
So if he would have won the Rumble, all right, you can't say that. If he goes on to win the EC, which I think he will, then the talk has to turn like, so that streak is broken. Can he now do it? And then you're going to get more Cody as a heel promos if that happens. And I love it. I love it. Because, like, John, you can't. No, you unless can't see me. You're right.
I would like, though, at some point as well to see him go through the different iterations again. They brought it up at the press conference after I think it was after Mania. I mean, not Mania, after Royal Rumble. I think. Are we going to see the different iterations of John Cena throughout the year? And I would really like to see that.
I think they had something. Is the Dr. Thugonomics going to make a return?
Yeah, we know he did it 35, but it was very brief. Right. And he has done it occasionally here and there for his stuff with The Rock and all that. So I could definitely see him coming back, especially if he's going to go up against somebody like, if Joe Hendry does get his wish. Right? That
right there. That's the one out that they have for 17 to be the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And that's also a title that Rick never had.
My God. Oh, the TNA title's defended at WrestleMania?
No, I wouldn't even defend it at WrestleMania. You just have him win it.
No, you do it.
No, you have to. You
have to do it.
You have to do that match at WrestleMania.
And because he's been talking about it for years.
Could you imagine the stadium in Vegas the second it goes, say his name, and
he appears? It would explode.
I think they'd have to cut to the damn Sphere having his Titantron on the Sphere.
Yeah.
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 But that's, all right.
That's an option.
It is. Gentlemen, we went a little over time here. I don't want to go too much more over. How we feeling? We're 10 weeks away from WrestleMania. We're 2 weeks away from the Elimination Chamber. How we feeling? Real quick.
Feeling good.
We excited yet?
Like the direction we're headed. The build should be good. They've shown us that. And yeah, man.
They're showing us this year's going to be looking to be a good WrestleMania this year.
Yes.
Excellent.
I feel comfortable about my breakout star. So
good. All right. That is it for us. If you are going to the parade on Friday, please be careful. Please stay safe. If not,
stop tearing up your own damn city.
Parade responsibly.
Yes. If you're going to be like me and try to watch the whole thing online, good luck. But with that, for Pete, for Butters, catch Pete on Wednesday. You sure it drops Wednesday now?
Yeah.
Catch Pete on Wednesday on the new show is called
FDL, Film Don't Lie.
All right. No way I was remembering that. Catch Pete on Film Don't Lie. We'll see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, tell somebody you love them and go Birds.
Woo!